Today I'm going to try to answer the $1 billion question. Why is it so hard to stay consistent with a healthy eating plan? Now, there's a lot of ins and outs here, there's a lot of different theories, and I'm not saying that I have all the answers, but here's what I do know. In order to be consistent on a good nutrition plan long term, you need to check off 3 boxes. There's 3 areas that you need to be successful in, and you need to be successful in each one of them. You know, if you're only doing 1 of them or 2 of them, it's probably not going to be enough. So, in no particular order, because they are all pretty much equally important, here is the deal. On one level, we have basically our functional level, and this is sort of what to do and how to do it. We have what to do, so i.e. what foods to eat, what foods to avoid, about how much you should be eating, and that's basically what most diet plans help you with, but they miss everything else that we're going to talk about. The other thing, in addition to knowing what to eat, is how to implement it and the resources you actually need to have in place to be successful. So we need implementation strategies to make it easier to be healthy, easier to choose the right foods versus the unhealthy foods that are so convenient and inexpensive and kind of tasty. And we also need the resources to be successful as well, right? You need to have a certain amount of time. You need to go grocery shopping. You may need to know how to cook, or you may need to find some alternatives about where to get your food. So you need all these different inputs to be successful just on that functional level of knowing what to do and how to do it. On another level, we have the sort of emotional and psychological aspects of changing our behavior and being successful there. Now, I don't have a PhD in psychology, but what I do know is that when people are trying to implement a new nutrition plan, there's sort of this balance of sort of emotions that drive that. There are negative emotions where you feel doubt, lack of confidence in your ability to execute and maintain this plan long term, and all of those things that make us feel frustrated and just kind of tired of this process that make us want to quit. And then there are a whole bunch of positive emotions. When you start to feel momentum building, you start to feel like you're on the right track and you're seeing progress. And that makes you more motivated and makes you more excited and engaged in the process. You feel empowered and ready to continue. So what we want to do is minimize those negative emotions and maximize or amplify those positive ones. And how we do that is very simple. We find ways to figure out what causes those negative ones, and usually it is a very common series of pitfalls and failure points that people hit early on. We identify ahead of time all the areas that might trip you up, and then we figure out ways to mitigate them or eliminate them. And at the same time, we want to make sure that the plan is engineering sort of early, easy wins that don't take too much effort, so you start building those positive feelings of momentum and empowerment and just positive vibes, you know what I'm saying? Now, the third component, right, so we have the functional level, we have our sort of emotional, psychological level, and then the third component is going to be your will. Now, I'm not talking about your willpower or how tough you are, how much guts you've got to just persevere. I'm talking about what you want to do and what you don't want to do in your life, right? The balance and the trade-offs there that ultimately are going to make you feel fulfilled and happy. Because the truth is that getting exceptional results in sort of body composition and health and fitness is hard and requires a lot of dedication, and it requires that you give up certain things and you put a lot of time and effort towards that. From my experience, the people who are on that far end of the spectrum, like think Olympic athletes or fitness models or pro bodybuilders, that type of thing, they live and die with health and fitness. They're obsessed about it. That's their #1 priority in life. And in fact, if you ask, most Olympic athletes who get a chance to compete once every 4 years at the highest level possible, if they would do almost anything to improve their performance, even a marginal amount, most of them would say yes in a heartbeat, no matter what the cost, right? That's how far off the spectrum of normal people they are, and that's what allows them to achieve great things. But most people have a lot more going on in their life in terms of things that they value and their priorities. So if your fitness plan says that you should be doing this where, you're totally obsessed with fitness, but in reality you have a lot of other stuff going on, you've just got to find a better balance in your life, and you can't expect to have the same results that an Olympic athlete is going to get unless you're willing to put in that work. So when it comes to understanding your will and getting your mind right, what can you do about that? Well, the first stuff is you got to ask yourself, do you really want to change or not? Because change is going to involve work. And if you do, how much work and how much change do you really want to make? What are things you want to give up and what are things you're not willing to give up? And you've got to be super upfront and honest with yourself about that. Second thing, don't worry about going from 0 to 100 all in one day. All you need to worry about is going from wherever you're starting and doing just enough, not more, just enough to get to that next level, right? Take one step at a time. And once this is feeling good and you're there and you're living it and you've decided how easy or hard it is and how happy you are with the results that you're getting there and that balance and that trade-off, if you decide to, do enough to get to that next step and that next step and that next step until you find the kind of magical happy place where everything kind of aligns and you're pretty satisfied with the balance that you have in your life relative to how much emphasis and value you're putting on health and fitness and all the other stuff in your life and the results that you're getting. So I hope this helped put some things in perspective, and in future videos I'm going to talk about some more specific strategies you can use for each level here, right? So remember, we have our sort of functional level, what to do and how to do it. We have our sort of emotional and psychological states that makes it either very easy to stay on track or that makes us want to quit and give up and go off track. And then we have just your overall will, the thing that is directing us, right? The why behind this and how important it is to you and how much you value it. We're going to get into each one of those in a little more detail, and I'm going to give you some key specific strategies and concepts to apply to make your life better.